Imagine being trapped in a space so small you can't move your arms. No light, no sound, just the weight of an entire building crushing down on you. For 11 days, this became her reality. With a shattered leg, no water, and rats crawling over her body, she made a decision that would either save her life or drive her insane.
On August 17th, 1999, at 3:02 a.m., the city of Izmit, Turkey, was asleep. The streets were quiet. Families rested in their homes. Among them was a woman in her early 30s, lying in bed in her fourth-floor apartment. She had no idea that in exactly 45 seconds, her entire world would collapse, literally. At 3:02:47 a.m., the earth beneath northwestern Turkey shifted violently. A massive 7.6 magnitude earthquake tore through the region with devastating force. Buildings didn't just shake, they disintegrated. In 45 seconds, over 17,000 people died. Tens of thousands more were buried alive under mountains of concrete and steel. The woman woke to a sound she would never forget. Not the rumbling, that came after. First, there was a crack, sharp, close, like a gunshot inside her bedroom wall. Then the floor beneath her bed dropped. She didn't fall, she was thrown downward as the entire structure pancaked floor by floor. 4 stories compressed into one in less than 10 seconds. When the shaking stopped, she opened her eyes to absolute darkness. Not dim, not shadowy, total, suffocating blackness. She tried to move. Her right arm was pinned beneath a concrete slab. Her left leg screamed in pain, crushed at an unnatural angle. She attempted to shift her body and immediately realized the horrifying truth. She was encased. Above her, inches from her face, was a massive piece of ceiling. To her sides, twisted rebar and shattered walls. Below, jagged debris pressing into her back. The space she occupied was roughly the size of a small coffin. She couldn't sit up. She couldn't roll over. She could barely move her head. Panic hit like a physical force. Her breathing quickened. Her chest tightened. In the pitch black, her mind conjured images of being buried alive, running out of air, suffocating slowly. She screamed. The sound went nowhere, swallowed by the tons of rubble surrounding her. Then, from somewhere above, she heard voices, faint, muffled, rescuers. Hope surged through her. She screamed again, louder this time, until her throat burned. She banged her free hand against the concrete. The voices continued, but they weren't getting closer. They were moving away. She screamed until she had no voice left, and then silence returned. Day 1 became a battle against her own mind. The darkness was absolute. Time lost all meaning. Was it morning, night? Had an hour passed or 6? Without light, without sound, her brain began to lose its grip on reality. She heard things that weren't there. Footsteps, voices calling her name, the sound of dripping water that never came. Hallucinations crept in, born from isolation and terror. Thirst arrived on day 2 like a slow, creeping poison. Her tongue swelled, her lips cracked and bled. She had no water, none. The only moisture in her tomb came from her own body, and so she made the decision that would keep her alive. She urinated into her hand and drank it. The taste was vile, her stomach revolted, but she forced it down. Again and again, over the days that followed, she repeated this act. It wasn't dignified, it wasn't pleasant, but it was survival. Day 1 became a battle against her own mind. The darkness was absolute. Time lost all meaning. Was it morning? Night? Had an hour passed or 6? Without light, without sound, her brain began to lose its grip on reality. She heard things that weren't there. Footsteps, voices calling her name, the sound of dripping water that never came. Hallucinations crept in, born from isolation and terror. Thirst arrived on day 2 like a slow, creeping poison. Her tongue swelled, her lips cracked and bled. She had no water, none. The only moisture in her tomb came from her own body, and so she made the decision that would keep her alive. She urinated into her hand and drank it. The taste was vile, her stomach revolted, but she forced it down. Again and again, over the days that followed, she repeated this act. It wasn't dignified, it wasn't pleasant, but it was survival.
The realization was crushing. She was invisible, forgotten, entombed. Despair set in like a weight on her chest. She stopped screaming, stopped moving. For hours, maybe a full day, she simply existed in the darkness, waiting for death. Her mind drifted to her family. Were they alive? Dead? Searching for her? Did they think she was already gone? The questions circled endlessly, unanswered and unbearable. But then, something shifted inside her, a stubborn refusal to surrender. If she was going to die here, she would die fighting. She began to ration her body's fluids more carefully. She forced herself to stay alert, to track time by counting heartbeats. She focused on breathing slowly, conserving oxygen in case her air supply was limited. She turned survival into a ritual, a series of small, deliberate acts that kept her mind sharp and her will intact. By day 7, her body was failing. The infection in her leg had worsened. She could feel the heat radiating from the wound, smell the sickly sweet stench of rotting tissue. Fever set in. She drifted in and out of consciousness, her thoughts fragmenting into strange, disjointed dreams. In those moments, she wasn't sure if she was alive or if this darkness was the afterlife, a purgatory of concrete and silence. Then, on the morning of day 8, though she had no way to know it was morning, she heard something new. Not voices, not machinery, a scratching sound. Close, too close. Rats. She felt them before she saw them, which was to say she never saw them at all. Their tiny claws scrambled over her body, searching for food. One bit her hand. She jerked reflexively, slamming her arm against the concrete. The rat fled, but others remained. They became her constant, unwelcome companions, crawling over her in the dark, nibbling at her wounds. Most people would have broken. The isolation, the pain, the rats, the infection, any one of these could shatter a human mind. But she endured. She counted time by the rhythms of her body, heartbeats, breaths, the slow, agonizing passage of hours marked only by the throbbing in her leg. On day 9, she heard the voices again. This time, they were different, closer, more urgent. She heard the distinct sound of a jackhammer tearing through concrete. Her heart raced. She screamed, not words. Her voice was too damaged for that. Just raw, guttural sound. She slammed her fist against the slab, over and over, until her hand was a bloody, broken mess. And then, a crack of light, thin, blinding, impossibly bright. A narrow beam piercing the darkness like a spear. She stared at it, unable to process what she was seeing. Light. Actual light. A voice called out in Turkish. She tried to respond, but only a croak escaped her throat. The light widened. A small hole appeared. A face looked down at her. The rescuer recoiled. She must have looked like something out of a nightmare. Pale, filthy, skeletal, her eyes wide and wild from days of darkness. But he didn't turn away. He shouted to his team. More hands appeared, more voices. They worked frantically, cutting through the concrete, expanding the opening inch by agonizing inch. It took 6 more hours to free her. 6 hours of careful, painstaking labor to avoid causing a secondary collapse that could kill her and the rescuers.
When they finally pulled her out, she weighed barely 80 pounds. Her leg was unrecognizable, swollen to twice its normal size, blackened with infection. Her skin was covered in cuts, bruises, and rat bites. She was dehydrated to the point of organ failure, but she was alive. The rescue team carried her to a waiting ambulance. As they lifted her onto the stretcher, she looked up at the sky. It was daytime. The sun was shining. She hadn't seen daylight in 11 days. Tears streamed down her face, though whether from relief, pain, or disbelief, she couldn't say. Probably all three. At the hospital, doctors examined her with a mixture of awe and confusion. By every medical standard, she should have been dead. Severe dehydration alone should have killed her by day 5. The infection in her leg should have caused septic shock by day 7. The psychological trauma of 11 days in total isolation should have left her catatonic. Yet she was conscious, talking, fighting. Her leg, however, could not be saved. The damage was too extensive. Gangrene had set in. Amputation was the only option. She accepted this without hesitation. A leg was a small price to pay for her life.
In the weeks that followed, as she recovered in the hospital, her story spread. Media outlets around the world covered her rescue. She became a symbol of human resilience. Scientists studied her case, trying to understand how she had survived conditions that defied known limits. Some attributed it to sheer willpower. Others pointed to rare physiological factors. Perhaps her body had entered a form of metabolic slowdown, conserving resources in ways typically only seen in extreme hibernation. She offered a simpler explanation. She refused to give up. Every moment in that tomb, she had a choice: surrender or survive. Hour after hour, day after day, she chose survival. Not because she was superhuman, not because she possessed some special gift, but because the alternative, simply letting go, was unacceptable.
Her story raises uncomfortable questions. How many others were trapped like her? How many survived for days only to be abandoned when rescuers moved on? How many voices went unheard beneath the rubble? The official death toll from the 1999 Izmit earthquake was over 17,000, but the true number may never be known. What is known is this: buried alive under 30 feet of concrete, with a crushed leg, no food, no water, and no hope of rescue, one woman turned survival into an act of defiance. And when the world finally pulled her from the darkness, she emerged not broken, but unbreakable. If this story moved you, challenged you, or made you rethink the limits of human endurance, take a moment to like the video. And if you want more true stories of survival against impossible odds, make sure to subscribe. There are many more waiting to be told.